Welcome to Fun and Games Side Quests. Every episode is a different host sharing a video game they love and why they love it.
Hi there, my name is Charles Harte. I'm an associate editor at Game Informer. Today I'm going to tell you a story about love at first sight. I was in 8th grade. Lego League was over and I was waiting for my dad to pick me up and take me home. Another friend who was waiting for his parents too wanted to show me a Yogscast YouTube video, something he often did, which was weird because I never really cared about the group in the first place. I'm sure we're all familiar with that awkward social setting by now, which is having someone sit next to you on a couch, holding up their phone for you to see, waiting for you to laugh just as hard as they did the first time they saw it. This context is important because I want to convey just how disinterested I was in whatever should have popped up on this screen. The deck was stacked against it, and yet, upon seeing the floppy fighters brawling on the screen of this iPhone 5C, I was instantly enthralled. The game was called Gang Beasts, and I became obsessed. If you've never played Gang Beasts, the description of the game says, Gang Beasts is a silly, multiplayer party game with surly, gelatinous characters, brutal slapstick fight sequences, and absurd, hazardous environments set in the mean streets of Beef City. You're basically these colorful, I always thought they looked kind of clay-like guys, just throwing hands. It's all physics-based. And the whole point is that it's just supposed to look absolutely ridiculous when you get punched in the face and ragdoll on the ground. There's all sorts of stages with, like it says, absurd, hazardous environments. There's like a subway, so you'll get hit by the subway. There's construction sites where the scaffolding can fall and you'll fall and die. And it's really fun. It's really goofy. And it's all because of that physics-based system. That's the thing that made me like it initially, is I remember seeing someone walking in one direction and then spin around, and the way the physics affected their fist, they accumulated all that momentum from the spin and knocked someone else out cold. And I just thought that was so, it's both funny and cool in this weird way. And yeah, so another thing about this game, it's technically very unimpressive. It's the graphics aren't anything to, write home about, and it's glitchy, but that's part of the charm. That's part of the reason I like it so much. I initially had it on, because it was only on Steam at first. I had a laptop, like school laptop, as like a 15-year-old. I downloaded it on there. Frame rate chugging away. My laptop could not handle this game, but I still loved it. We would connect our Xbox 360 controllers, me and my brother. Sometimes we'd HDMI it to the TV if we were feeling crazy, but that was not the way the game was intended to be played. And yet we still played it a lot. Then eventually I got a PS4 and we were like, this is great. The exclusive the PS4 is known best for is Gang Beasts. So then we had a great time playing Gang Beasts on the PS4. And even then when I got my PS5, I was like, this is sick because it has better hardware than the PS4, so it can load Gang Beasts even faster than ever before. And that's true. And yeah, part of the reason I like it so much is that it is a specific memory I have with my brothers. My brother Andre and I, he's 2 years younger than me. We were very close growing up. We still are. We don't live near each other anymore, though. So it's kind of a ritual we have of once he comes back, or once we see each other, if we have our PS4 or PS5, or it's on Game Pass now on Xbox, we'll just fire up Gang Beasts and just kind of talk and battle in it. Yeah, the game, as I said, is physics-based, has very specific controls. We always play on controller, and part of the fun of the game, I think, is struggling against those controls and struggling against the physics system in general. The left bumper is left punch, right bumper is right punch. If you hold the punch button down, you grab, and then depending on the controller you're on, I'll use Xbox controller, the A button is either jump or lift up. The Y button raises your arms in the air. X button is your feet. B button is your head. And it is, if it sounds confusing, it is confusing. It is not intuitive. And that's part of what is fun about it, is like executing your first drop kick in that game. You feel like a god because of how stupid you look stumbling around in the hours playing up until that point. With my brother and I now, we've played this game enough that it looks like a different game. And I'm saying this, I'm not one to brag about myself. I'm generally a pretty insecure person. I'm not someone that likes to show off my skills in any particular thing, especially pitted against like the whole wide world of the internet. Like for me to say I'm good at Super Smash Bros. No, I'm not. There's people way better than I am at Super Smash Bros. You fill a football stadium with people that are better than me in most games. Gang Beasts, I am very good at. And it's just because we've literally played hundreds and hundreds of hours of this game. When I say we're obsessed with this game, I mean it's truly just something we spend so much time doing. So when we were playing it, it feels like it's our game because we spent so much time invested in it, and we can do backflips and jump kicks, and we can climb and swing and do all this stuff that in another game would be very simple because it's more built into the game. It's meant to be intuitive. And this game, it's like a superhuman feat. And it feels good. Another thing about the game is it's got this, the game design is obscured in a lot of ways. There's a lot of systems that are active that once you've played it, you can understand kind of how they work, but it's not portrayed on the screen at all. So for example, there's a stamina system. If you're holding onto a wall, over time, just because you can't hold on to things forever, your controller will start to vibrate, and then eventually you'll lose your grip. That's also just in general health is kind of a thing where when you get hit a certain number of times and it's not precise, you'll go down, you'll be unconscious, and you'll wake up. And every time you go down, you'll stay down for longer, and it'll be easier to knock you down. So it can definitely get into a thing where you get chain knocked down over and over again. And there's no health meter there. It's just kind of a thing you start to get a feel for. And you win the game, or you lose rather, when you get knocked off of the edge of whatever stage it is. So on, roof, for example, if you fall off the roof, you die. In ring, which is like a boxing ring, if you get knocked past the ropes, you die. And that's another thing that we keep a lot of track of, is like the death plane of like, there's a point at which you hit at which your character will die, but not always. So on ring, you can kind of hang outside the ropes. Anyways, I'm getting technical. Some of the stages, as I was saying, there's roof, there's ring, there's girders, which is a construction site. There's train, where you're on top of a moving train. Recently, they've added trawler, which is a new word for me. It's like a fishing boat that sharks can attack. There's an aquarium where tentacles will come up and grab you and pull you underwater. And yeah, it's goofy. It's fun. It's not intuitive, but it is fun to introduce to new people, because even when you lose, it looks so silly and goofy that it's fun. It's funny to laugh at. And because it's so hard to get a hold of that physics system, even if I'm playing with someone who's never played before, they stand a pretty good chance against me, because even at my best, I can't play perfectly, and it's very likely that they will, do something to knock me out. Or maybe, sometimes you just randomly get knocked out. If I do a drop kick and miss, half the time your head hits the ground and then you get knocked out anyway. So it's fun. It's a thing. My brother and I play a lot, but then we usually bring it to New York to play with my cousins. And I've been playing it for so long, I haven't even realized that my little cousins have been playing it kind of their whole lives, knowing us growing up. They used to call it the White Eyes game, because these, colorful guys have these big white eyes. And one of the truly proudest moments of my life was when we went and we saw them most recently. And they're not that old. They're like 4th grade, I think the older one is. I don't know. Whatever it is, they're not. It was my whole life. I was taking it easy on them in games. We played Mario Kart. My brother and I would drive backwards and then start playing, just so we'd give them a head start. Playing Gang Beasts with them, they are so good. They are as good as my brother and I, because they started playing at such a young age. It's like when you teach a kid a new language as a baby, it's way easier to learn. That was just them with Gang Beasts. So yeah, it's a game that has close personal significance to me because of the people I played it with and the amount of time I played it. Another thing I want to mention is there's a robust character creator, and it seems like it's all cosmetic, but the trick is that it's weirdly not, or at least it used to be way less cosmetic than it is now. An early example of this is my brother made a character named Beckley, who's just like a shirtless guy with boxing gloves and a huge head of hair and a beard. And whatever the way the physics system worked, it was so hard to knock him out. I think because that hair was acting as like a helmet, and his boxing gloves just gave his punches way more momentum. So he would knock us out in like 2 hits. And it was really funny. And then it was also, we made the rule of like, okay, you can't be Beckley all the time. He's going to knock us out. You can't be Beckley all the time. It's unfair. Another character, the opposite side of the spectrum, I made a guy, I named him Jack. He's just like a little newsy guy. He's got a newsboy cap on. So weak, knocked out at anything. I'll jump and he'll fall unconscious. And it's the funniest thing ever. It's very fun to play as him because of that. And then we also have a character named Travis who has a comb over. And the little strands of his hair, if you grab them, the physics system will freak out sometimes and just teleport you around the stage. And sometimes Travis dies. Sometimes you die. Sometimes you both die. Sometimes you clip out the stage past the death plane and then you're floating in a void of nothing. You have to reset the game. And it's very fun. And to me, that's like a crucial part of the experience is that glitchiness. And they've patched it a little bit over the years, which makes sense because you have to patch games and you have to make them more stable. Obviously, you don't want it to break every time you play the game, but it's very fun. And yeah, I wanted to mention this game. I was looking at like my list of top 10 games. A lot of them have already been covered on SideQuest. But for me, Gang Beasts is a really good game that I don't even know if I'd recommend to everyone because it is... there's a certain friction in getting to play it, and you have to be able to play it with the right people. Like if you're playing games by yourself, this game doesn't make any sense. And I don't even know if I started playing it now and my brother wasn't around, I don't know if I would like it nearly as much as I did back then. But it does mean a lot to me, and I think that it's important to distinguish your favorite games from what you think the best games are. Because, you know, if it was like an objective, you know, technical thing of this gameplay is so impressive or the storytelling is really good, then it's like, yeah, everyone would just only talk about Breath of the Wild and Red Dead Redemption 2 or whatever. But to me, Gang Beasts is one of my favorite games of all time, purely because of the people I played it with and the environments I've done that in. So I just want to encourage you, like what you like. It doesn't matter if you hear your friends say it's bad or you see it gets bad reviews by critics or whatever. You can't really control what art speaks to you and when, and you should embrace stuff if you like it. And don't get upset if other people don't like it. If someone didn't like Gang Beasts and they said it was a bad, poorly designed game, I don't even know if I would disagree because I think it depends so much on the person that's playing. And obviously that's not always the case, but it truly doesn't matter. Because if you like it, then you like it. And that's the reason you're playing the game. Anyways, that's all I have to say about Gang Beasts. I hope you have a wonderful day. And as always, happy gaming.
Hey there, Screen Beans. Have you heard about Screen Snark?
Rachel, this is an ad break. They aren't Screen Beans until they listen to the show.
Fine. Potential Screen Beans. You like movies and TV shows, right?
I mean, who doesn't? Screen Snark is a casual conversation about the movies and television shows that are shaping us as we live our everyday lives.
That's right, Matt. We have a chat with at least one incredible guest every episode, hailing from all walks. We've interviewed chefs,
writers, costumers, musicians,
yoga teachers, comedians, burlesque dancers,
folks in the film and TV industry,
and more.
We'd be delighted for you to join us every other Monday on the Certain POV Podcast Network.
Or wherever you get your podcasts, fresh and tasty off the presses.
What? That's not...
Can I call them Screen Beans now?
Fine.
Screen Beans!
So tune in and we'll see you at the movies or on a couch somewhere.
'Cause you're all Screen Beans now.
She will be mine. Aurora.
CPOV. CertainPOV.com.